Hello and welcome to the ScreenSafe podcast. I'm Anna Sargentson, founder of ScreenSafe and mum to a tween and teen myself. And this podcast is here for anyone who cares about keeping children and young people safer online, whilst also building their resilience, self-esteem and establishing healthy digital habits. So whatever age or stage your children are at, there will be something here for you. No judgment, no guilt trips, no pressure, just support, advice and tools to help you and your family. So thank you for being here and let's get going. Hi, I hope you're well. I wanted to record this episode because at the time of recording, which is the beginning of May 2026, it's really relevant for any parents, carers, families out there who've got children currently either started or about to start some pretty important exams. So here in the UK, we've obviously got Year 6 doing SATs, we've got Year 11 GCSEs, Year 13 doing A-levels, and there will inevitably be some others doing other things in between as well. So it's a really tense few months. And if you're anything like me, I've got a daughter who's about to start her GCSEs. It's felt like a really tense month for several months now with the build-up. And I'm almost hoping that once the exams get going, it might actually feel a little bit better and we can start crossing things off and she can actually start seeing that end in sight, because it's felt like a long time coming. But the reason for this episode is very much about just a reminder to check in with your child in terms of who is helping them revise. So the main priority, of course, with all of our young people, particularly those ones going through this stressful time, is that they're feeling okay. How are they? How's their health? How's their mental well-being? How are they sleeping, eating? Are they getting some fresh air, exercise, and not getting completely overwhelmed or burnt out? But one thing that's really coming through that I think has it's been around again. It's nothing new, but it seems to be getting worse each year. And certainly because I'm a parent of a child going through it this year, I'm even more aware of it than I have been previously. And that is the sheer volume of misinformation on social media, targeting children, teenagers and parents probably as well, and promising all these, grade 9 hacks. So, revise this way, do this topic, guaranteed topics, predicted papers, shortcuts to top grades, etc. And it's a huge, huge concern. So there was a recent study out by a tutoring company called Save My Exams and ITV, done towards the end of last year. And they found that 68% of students are using educational social media influencers for schoolwork. And 64% are not checking whether those accounts are run by qualified teachers or examiners. Now, my own social media feed on Instagram is flooded at the moment with all these different tutor options, all these different cheat codes, promises of all nines, 10 hours every weekend, 5 hours after school schedules. And it overwhelms me. And clearly this is an example of how our phones can be listening to our conversations, because I'm not searching for this content. But clearly there's conversations in our house going on a lot about revision, GCSEs, exams, different topics. And sure enough, that's the content I am getting served a lot on my feed at the moment. So I can guarantee it will be coming through on your child's phone as well if they've got social media. Particularly TikTok is rife for this, but absolutely all over Instagram as well. And I'll admit, even at times I thought, oh my goodness, are we doing enough? Should I be helping more? Should I be more involved? Should I be trying to get her to do more revision? Should I be trying to get her to start earlier? I even found myself questioning these things. And then I quickly caught myself and gave myself a reality check and recognised exactly what was happening. I was being made to feel like I wasn't doing enough as a parent, and potentially that my daughter wasn't doing enough either. And she absolutely is. And I'm not the one going to be sitting the exam, so there's no point me revising all these topics as well. But that is, again, how easily it can be for us to feel like that. So imagine how it's landing with 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And I'm bringing year six into this as well, because we know there's a number of children at that age bracket who will be on social media. And yes, it's heavily weighted towards the higher end, but they'll no doubt possibly be seeing things as well about SATs and how important they are and how much they need to get this grade because it's going to affect them in year seven, or the polar opposite of it doesn't matter, you shouldn't bother, don't waste your time. And that's exactly what we're seeing. The vast majority of what I'm being served is targeted at GCSE level. So I am going to assume there's very similar for whichever exams you're sitting. But the type of content I've been seeing is a huge concern. Now, there are lots of brilliant, genuine educators online too, qualified, generous, putting out paid and free quality content. But there is so much noise in this space right now that it is absolutely worth a check-in with your team of who are they actually following online. If they're doing some revision and they're getting that from online sources, do you know who that is? Have you checked it? Have they checked it? Or is it just someone who's got a huge following on TikTok and sounds great, sounds, really cool. They relate to them because they're a similar age or just a few years older. And they're just soaking up what they're telling them without actually verifying, is that information correct? So some of the key red flags to be looking out for in this is anyone who's, guaranteeing all these straight grade nines, and again, making that seem like it's just the normal thing and everybody should be achieving that. Instantly going to create a lot of panic and pressure and anxiety for people. So these whole posts about this is how I got straight nines in GCSEs and then straight nines or 5-star A stars, at A-level. This was my revision plan. Just follow these steps. Exam predictions from people who've never taught. They've never been teachers. They've never been examiners. And some of them don't even seem to know the difference between the different exam boards and the facts that different exam boards have different syllabuses. So there's even been predictions out there of topics that aren't on that syllabus. So your child could be at risk of revising something that's not even ever going to come up in their exam. And that is just unacceptable and not fair. We've got influencers who are, and I use that term loosely, but people who've got a huge following on these platforms who are claiming that they've got straight nines. We don't see any evidence for that. It's just them saying it. I could go on and say I've got straight nines if it didn't look obvious that when I did GCSEs, it definitely wasn't giving out grades in numbers. But there's no evidence of that to back this up on these posts. And then they're pushing these unrealistic revision schedules. Or the opposite, all you need to do is watch this one 45-minute or 20-minute YouTube clip, and this is going to get you grade 9, and you can just chill out then. You don't need to do any more. This is it. And then the other worrying side that I'm seeing, which is really, really frustrating and infuriating, is the diet and energy hacks. So again, we know the basics of getting through any stressful period and just life in general. Sleep is non-negotiable. Fueling their body with good quality food and having some movement, some exercise, and actually taking breaks and being able to let their brain rest and reset. And instead, we're seeing some posts around how, what you can eat and drink to fuel you to just keep going. You can get by, particularly going into the exams, of surviving on very little sleep so that you can do this last night cramming. That's the best way, because then you'll wake up and it's all fresh in your head. That's horrific advice. And maybe it works for one or two people out there, but for the vast majority of the people, that's going to be the worst thing they can be doing. And we're even seeing things about remembering how, actually what matters is how good you're going to look in your prom dress at the end, in terms of restricting calories. Again, the absolutely last thing we need to be doing when they're going into such an intense period of, stress and having to use their brain to this level. They need the calories, the right calories, of course, but this is not the time for missing sleep and missing food. So it's really important. I just wanted to flag this up because it's cropping up more and more. And I know from my own daughter, I know in terms of what she's seeing and hearing from other friends as well, people are following these. They're sharing their tips. It's like, oh, well, apparently this is going to be the topic for, I don't know, Macbeth, for example, we're doing here. So it's like, this is what it's going to be on this time. Now, there are people out there making predictions, and they're then stipulating that this is literally that. It is a prediction based on their understanding of what's happened in the past. And they are people who have been teachers, examiners, etc. But they are always very clear with the fact that this is not a guarantee. This is what they think is highly likely. But you still need to revise all the content to give yourself that best chance. So at this time, I just thought it's worth flagging and saying, if you have a child who is going through any of their sort of exams at the moment, just take that time. Obviously, you're checking in on them anyway, because there's nothing more important than their well-being. But when it comes to revision, where are they getting that information from? If it's not from school, if it's not from a verified resource or the exam board themselves, who are they taking that from? Because it would be absolutely horrific to find out that they're taking the wrong information, they're learning the wrong things. The other thing just to flag as well, of course, is AI. And there's a lot of people advising or saying, just put this into ChatGPT and get it to write you out a perfect essay plan and just memorize that and you've got it. Or get it to write you flashcards. Now, again, we have to remember that AI hallucinates. So it is only as good as the quality of the data that we are putting into it in the prompts. So if someone is just putting in, I'm doing my maths GCSE history next week, write me some flashcards on, and then name a topic, unless they're being specific about what exam board they are, putting in the actual breakdown of the syllabus, and then verifying where those answers are coming from, they're at risk of learning or using content that just is not accurate. And that would be a disaster. So have a check, have a chat. It's of course it's not their fault at all. This isn't about coming down and saying, why on earth have you been looking at that or trusting that person? It is everywhere. It is flooding their feeds at the moment. And of course it's tempting. Of course it's nice to see someone who you think they get it. They're more relatable than my teacher at school, so I want to listen to them. But please do your research, help them do their research. And certainly before you give any money to any of these people that are saying that they can get you these amazing grades, again, check what are the qualifications, what's their credibility. And before you decide to part with any money and even time invested. There is loads of great content as well available that is free. So a lot of verified teachers who have content on YouTube that is verified, that is clear, and that can be really helpful and can be free. Because again, there are lots of children out there, they can't afford to be paying for a tutor or for £200 for a masterclass in English literature or whatever it is, even if it is verified. So there is help out there, and that's what we want to make sure, that the help, the qualified, the great quality content is available and that everybody gets that access, but they're not drowned out with all the noise and the false information. And above all, remember that, reminding them that these exams, yes, they're important. Of course, they want to do their best, but they're absolutely not the be all and end all. They are. This intense period can easily lead to panic techniques, last minute cramming, and meltdown and overwhelms. And I know we've had a few up and downs in our house, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come over the next few weeks. So looking after their well-being comes above and everything else. But I would hate to think that people are using these resources and genuinely feeling like they've got the right information and wasting time on the misinformation rather than and just double checking and making sure, is this right? Is this the right exam board? Is this the right syllabus? Is this what's actually being tested in 2026? And who is this person? How do I know they're telling me the right content? The other reliable source, of course, BBC Bitesides. Lots of fantastic GCSE. I haven't personally looked at the A-level content, but GCSE, they've got some really good resources on there for free. Some brilliant podcasts if your child would rather listen to things than watch another video or try and read another document. Some great podcasts that just explain things really well. So there's quality content, there's free quality content, but we have to make sure we're looking for it clearly. So if this relates to you, if you've got a child going through this, I wish them all the best, and you as their parent and family surrounding them. It's a hard time for everybody in the house, and hopefully it goes well. Hopefully they feel supported and get through it okay. And as we say, the end result is not the be all and end all. It's just the start of the next chapter. So I hope this helps. Please share with any other parent you know who's got teenagers or children doing exams. And as I say, don't forget Year 6. I know it might seem a bit young, but believe me, I know there's a lot of Year 6 children on these platforms, and even if your child isn't, they might be hearing things from others who are, again, and it can just create that anxiety and make them feel that they're not doing enough or that they maybe don't need to do anything. So good luck to everybody, and I hope that helps, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Thanks so much for listening. I really hope you found this episode useful. And if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you would like to leave a like and maybe share it with someone who you feel may benefit from this conversation, or leave a comment below. And if you'd like to receive my newsletter with more news, tips, resources, and all the information about the programs I run and other ways I can support you, please head over to my website, screensafe.co.uk. Take care.